Assalamu alaikum. Hello everyone. Today we are going to explore one of the most powerful important decision making tools in programming, the nested if else statement in C. We will look at how it works, when to use it, and what alternatives exist. What is nested if else statement? A nested if else is simply an if-else block inside another. It is used when decisions depend on previous conditions. Think of it like a layered decision tree. Each branch leads to another question or action. An if-else block inside another if-else enables multi-level decision making. Real-world analogy, decision trees are layered permission. If we look at the simple if-else statement flowchart, we can explain that in simple if-else statement, if the condition is true, then the statement following the true path of the code will execute, and if the condition is false, then the else portion of the statement will execute. So this is very simple structure, which is if else structure. But if we compare this simple structure with nested if else statement, nested if else statement in nested if else statement, uh, if statement is enclosed and other if statement, then this becomes nested if else statement. In this example, condition 1 is tested. If the condition 1 is tested, if the one condition is true, then the condition 2 is tested. Again, if the condition 2 is true, then the statement 1, that is following the true path of the condition 2, will execute. In the second scenario, if the condition 1 is true, but condition 2 is false, then the false path of the condition 2, that is statement 2, will execute. In third scenario, if the condition 1 is false, then the false path of the condition 1, that is statement 3, will execute. So this is how a nested if-else statement works. Now take a look of the syntax of the nested if-else statement in C language. If condition 1 is true, then the control goes to the condition 2, that is if condition 2. If both the condition, that is condition 1 and condition 2, are true, then the code following these two conditions will execute. In second scenario, if the condition 1 is true and the condition 2 is false, then the else portion of the second if condition will execute. And in third case, if the condition 1 is false, then the last else portion of the if condition will execute. So this is the structure of the syntax of the nested if else statement. Now example 1, grade evaluation. This is a program which demonstrates the use of the nested if else statement in C language. In this program, we declare a variable named marks having data type integer and assign the value 85 to this variable. Then the first if statement checks the marks if marks greater than equal to 50. If the condition is true, in this case the condition is true because the value of the marks is 85, and here we are checking this marks is greater than equal to 50, so it is greater than 50. So then control goes to the next if condition. In this condition, if marks greater than equal to 80, this condition is also true because the marks is greater than 80. So the statement following the next if statement will execute. So this statement will give the output excellent performance because both the conditions are true, both the statements are true. So the statement following the next if will execute. In the second scenario, if we change the value of marks to 35, then the first if condition becomes false because the value of marks is 35. It is not greater than equal to 50. The condition is false. then the last if that is related to the first if will execute and it will give the message you failed. So this is the example one. Now the example two, number classification. In this example, we check the number is positive number, negative number or zero. So let's start. First, we create a variable of integer type num and assign the value to -5. So first if we check if num not equal to 0. So this condition is true because the num is not equal to 0, it is equal to -5. So the condition is true. The control goes to the next if condition, which is enclose the first if condition, making the nested if structure. So nested if condition, if num greater than 0, this condition is false because num is not num this condition is false because num is not greater than 0 because the value of the num is -5. So the else part of this program will execute. It will give the output negative number as it is shown in this slide. So the output will be negative number. So this is how a nested if else statement works. Now the benefits of nested if else, it gives the hierarchical logic of the program. We nest one if with the other, and the same way we can use multiple if which are nested to each other. Due to this, the program become readable, and the efficient execution and flexible or complex scenarios can be easily managed and maintained with the help of nested if-else statement. Alternatives to if-else statement, we have different alternatives which in some scenarios though those alternatives are better than the nested if-else statement. So the first time scenario is switch case. In switch case, we can use multiple decision making structures, and we can use them according to the requirement. And the example, for using switch case statement, we can calculate the grades of the student using with the help of switch case statement. Then ternary operators, basically simple conditions in which two options are given. Out of two, one option is correct, so we can use them according to requirement. Then function, then logical operators, we have uh, logical operators and logical operator are. We can come in logical operator basically used to combine more than one condition to make the compound statement. We can use the compound statement in the nested if statement, in the if statement, instead of using the nested if statement. So these are different alternatives which can be used instead of if else statement. Now the next topic, that is arrays. Array basically is a data structure which is used to store the values of same type. We can declare different types of array. We can define an integer type of array. We can define float type of array. We can define character type of array. So according to the requirement, we can define the array. But the one very important thing which should be in your mind, that what type of array you declare, you can assign the values of those type only. If you declare an integer, you can assign only integer values. If you declare the float type array, you can define only float values. And if you declare the character type array, you can only store the character values in the array. So you have to define the array, and then you have to assign the values according to the data types of the array. The second important point is that the program using array are fast, because when we declare an array, it will occupy the same memory, consecutive memory location. So the programs run faster using arrays. Now how we declare an array. We can declare an array by specifying the types of the data, then the name of the array, then the size of the array. And then the initialization of array, we can easily initialize the array by using the data type, then array name, then size, and equal sign, and then the values, the number of values which we can store in the arrays. We can use this. Then the accessing array element. Basically, accessing array element means printing the elements of the array, or performing the functions on the array. Let's say if we define an array of 5 elements, we store the value. Now we have to print the values. Or now if we want to perform the calculation on the elements of the array, we can do it with the help of arrays very easily. So now take a look of the example of array. In this example, we define an array of integer type, the name of the array is marks, and the size of the array is 5. In first line, we initialize the array as well. We define array, and along with defining array, we also assign the values to the elements of the array. When we when we use integer marks 5, the computer will declare 5 variables, array of 5 variables named mark 0, mark 1, mark 2, mark 3, and mark 4. In the first statement, we define array as well as we initialize the array. The value of 90 will be stored to the mark 0 variable, subscript variable of the array, then 85 to the marks 1, 70 to the marks 2, 88 to the marks 3, and 92 to the marks 4. In this way, we assign the values to different variables within the single statement. Now the next statement, that is printf statement. In the 4 to 5 printf statement, we print the value. We take the output of the values which is stored in the array, that are 90, 85, 70, 88, 92. So it will print the value output, the 90, 85, 70, 82, and 94 for 2. In this way, we can define array, we can assign the values to the array. The best way to fill and print array is using loops. Loops are very efficient way to fill an array and print an array. We can use for loop for filling and printing an array. Then summary of the topic, we discussed the nested if else and arrays. Nested if else are powerful for layered decisions. Use alternatives when they simply logic. If we have to write the program to calculate the grades of the student, the best option is switch statement. You can use the switch statement, then choose clarity and efficiency. Then array store multiple values of the same type. As I told you, if we define an array of integers, we are bound to store only integer values in this array. We can't store float type values or character type values in this integer array. So the indexing start from 0. The first index of the array is 0, always 0. You can give different index as well according to your requirement. Useful for iteration with loops. Loops are the best way to fill and print. As I told you earlier, the best way to fill and print is using the loop. We can use for loop is the best way to fill and print an array, simply for data handling and processing. Okay, thank you, student. This is the end of the topic. Please memorize it, understand it, and try to write the program using nested if else statement, simple if else statement, and arrays. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.